The Pit Boss Champion Barrel Smoker is one of the lower priced barrels on the market, but the question is it worth the price tag? We're gonna put it to the test by prepping some food for a large family reunion, and we're gonna see if this cooker is competition worthy coming up. At a retail price of $8.99, you get 3 levels of cooking grates, as well as 1,158 square inches of total cooking space available on the Champion. Let's do a walkthrough of the Champion cooker. Now from the top, you can see that we have the exhaust vent up here, but the idea on this is you don't control the vent by screwing up and screwing down. You control the vent using this lever right here on the side. If you look, it says max and min. So min would mean I have this to the minimum air output allowed or the minimum exhaust. And max would be I have it turned to the maximum exhaust, otherwise putting this pretty much wide open. But this right here is how you control your air output on the Champion cooker. When that vent is set to max, this is max. Min is this. So maximum, minimum. So you can see what that does on the inside. Taking a dive inside the lid, if we go ahead and lift up the lid here, you can see that it ships with a couple different things. The first is the rib hanger itself. So this is where you would hang your ribs on the side here. You could probably put 3 racks per rail, so a total of, I would say, 9 racks on this, and this ships in the box. So I like that this is a vertical drum smoker, which is made oftentimes for hanging racks of ribs and other meat. I like that this ships in the box. Next, you can see that we have a porcelain-coated cooking grate. Now, there's not only one, but we have 2 and even 3 cooking grates. So out of the box, the Champion comes with 3 levels of cooking grate that you can be able to load this thing up with proteins to be able to get your smoke on. Hey, if you're getting value from this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos just like this. Below the bottom grate, we have the heat diffuser. You can see that it's slotted and it's vented in such a way that all of the panels are venting the same direction. So you can see that it's going to give it almost a vortex or almost the swirling effect as exhaust and smoke leaves the cooker. Now this diffuser or deflector is not required to use. You can pull this out at any time and you can see the Firebox below. Now this is the charcoal Firebox and it's out of place right now. It's almost like I just moved this in place. Let's get it in place there. And with that Firebox, this is where your charcoal is going to go and where you would put your wood chunks on top to be able to light your fire. That means you can hang your meat directly down over the charcoal fire, or you can put your 3 cooking grates in place and you can cook directly over the fire, but with some added distance between the flame and your food, making this a direct cooker but with some massive distance in between. Let's go ahead and measure that distance with a tape measure right now. Hey, if you're looking to get the best price on this cooker, make sure you check out the links in the description below. Prices are always changing, so make sure that you check out the links to get yourself the best price. All right, right here, if you look from the Firebox to the diffuser or the deflector, it's only about 3 inches that deflector and diffuser is sitting right here above. Now, the first level of cooking grate, on the other hand, right above your Firebox, is sitting right at about 10 inches, maybe 9.5 inches above the Firebox. But if you look above the deflector, I'm gonna say that it sits about 7.5 inches above the deflector, that first grate. Now, if you're gonna say that's 7.5 inches, let's go ahead and get up here, and the second grate is going to be about 13.5 inches. So you have about 6 inches between the grate level. And if that's 13.5, then you've got right around 19.5 up top. So you have 6 inches of cooking height between your cooking grates, making things like pork butts and other large proteins an easy thing to be able to stack on 3 different grates to maximize your cooking space. To open the Firebox, you simply have to undo the 2 latches and then pull it open. What you'll notice here is that the Firebox itself completely comes out of the Pit Boss Champion, and you have the ability to add more coals, add wood, you can clean it, you can be able to work with everything on the shelf that comes out with the Firebox. This is a real standout in the space because you just don't see the entire Firebox coming out like this in other cookers. Another thing I want to point out, this comes with 2 side shelves. You just lift it up, lock it in place. You've got a side shelf on each side. Same thing over here. Lift it up, lock it in place. All right, let's turn it around, show you the back. If you look at this and think, wow, that smoker has a built-in dolly, you'd be correct. That's really what this is a built-in dolly on the Pit Boss Champion. You have this rollerblade style inline wheel with this dolly built in to be able to move it around the patio or get it on and off your competition trailer, on and off the ramp of your trailer, whatever it is that you want to do. You have a lot of options here. Now there's also a little hanger here that I think you could use to be able to put extra grates or whatever it is you might not be using. There's also a little hanger here on the back as well. And last but not least, I want to cover the air intake vents. You can see this pipe that runs all the way down to the bottom of the smoker. There's one on each side, and you can see that there's a screw here in the back. This is where you're giving your air intake for your grill. You notice it runs into the side shelf if the side shelf is down. So that's why when you're running your grill, they expect you to have your side shelf up. You can get it all the way open that way. But this is the intake where you're letting your air into your grill. And there's one on the left side and one on the right side. If you were to set this completely wide open, you would set this side and that side to both wide open, and that's giving your grill as much air as it can possibly take right down to the firebox. Notice that that pipe goes all the way down and it jets right into the bottom of the firebox, giving air directly where it's needed. Now you can also take this and choke it back. Halfway, a quarter open, 3/4 open, just a little bit. You could even open one side and leave the other side closed. There's multiple ways to run this grill, but I do like that I'm not having to bend all the way down to 6 inches above the ground to mess with my vents. They're right here where I don't even have to bend over to work with them. Since we have our tape measure handy, let's go ahead and see how tall and how wide and get some of the specifications here. I'm getting right at 52 inches tall is what I'm seeing for the height of this unit. Now, from a width perspective, I'm looking at right at 31 inches as the width that I'm measuring here from the outside of the shelf when it's closed to the outside of the other shelf when it's closed. And the cooking surface height, I have right at 39 3/4, just under 40 inches for the interaction height for the top grate. Another feature is this thermometer that is sitting right below the second level grate. If you ever want to know the temperature of the smoker, just know that you're measuring above grate 1 and below grate 2 for where the placement of this thermometer is. So there's your walkthrough of the Pit Boss Champion barrel smoker. Now, there's no real way to fully test this thing until we get it dirty, so it's time to light a fire and let's cook some meat. This is a low and slow cook, so I grabbed the Fogo Gold bag of lump charcoal. I love this stuff for cooks around 225 to 250 degrees. I filled the basket about 3/4 full, and I'm using the rocket fire torch to get things started. Now I'm just lighting the back corner of the firebox so the fire can grow towards the air intake vents over time. I'm setting the air intake to fully open on both sides, and the exhaust setting I'm leaving on max to get the grill up to temperature. We're shooting for 250 degrees today, and it took us about 45 minutes to get the pit settled in. Today's meat is bone-in pork shoulder, and we found a great sale at our local supermarket, so we're cooking 4 whole butts for an upcoming family reunion. I'm using 2 barbecue rubs, and the first is the new competition barbecue rub from Pit Boss. The second rub is from our friend Ray Lampe, known by most as Dr. Barbecue, and it's his Peach Chipotle barbecue rub. Ray's competing on the new season of Barbecue Brawl on the Food Network starting this week, so tune in and root for him. I know I can't wait to see him in action. I'm using my new knives from Pit Boss that came in a set of 4 to get things started, and our barbecue prep tub keeps the mess contained. You can see the difference between the 2 rubs as I put them on. Now, since this is our first time running the Champion smoker, I'm going to try it with a water pan on the bottom grate, then stack the pork on shelves 2 and 3. I'm keeping the same flavor of pork over each other, so we're self-basting with the same flavor. Pit Boss also sent us their new sprayer to test out, so I mixed some apple juice and apple cider vinegar for the spritz. I love that it's a pump design, so it's constant pressure when I have the grill open to keep the spritz session short. After 6 hours of cooking, here's what the pork looked like before we wrapped in foil to push it through the stall. It has the color I want on each piece of meat, so now it's just about getting it tender. I went ahead and removed the water pan as I think this is just too big of a pan for this size of cooker, and lesson learned there.
After another 3 hours in foil, we set our Renaissance cooking system warming drawer to 150 degrees and let the 4 pork butts take a rest overnight. Around 10 a.m., we pulled the pork out of the warming drawer and the built-in thermometer said it was done. We vacuum sealed the pork to have with the 17 people who are coming over this weekend for our family reunion. And if you want to hear our thoughts on the 2 barbecue rubs, check us out on our social channels over on Instagram, Facebook, and others, where we'll update you on the flavors during our family dinner together.
If you'd like to see a more in-depth guide on how you can cook your first pork butt, make sure you check out the video in the card up above here. This video has step-by-step instructions to help you find success cooking pork butts in your backyard. Thanks so much for watching. I'm David. Behind the camera is Melissa. We're the Barbecue Lab, and we can't wait to see you on the next one.